All right, everyone, thank you for your patience. We'll bring to order the Budget Subcommittee, number 4 for March 19th, 2025. We'll bring us in order today. And again, thank you for being patient with our technical issues. We'll first start off with, because I am very cognizant of everyone's time, we have a full room here today. So we'll start first with number 2. Madam Parliamentarian, can you read item number 2?
Item 2, presentation, General Sessions Court Clerk and Judges. Clerk Tammy Sawyer presenting.
All right, Clerk Sawyer.
Thank you. Good morning. Clerk Tammy Sawyer, General Sessions Court Clerk. It's exciting to be here presenting my first budget on this side of the well. I'm here with the General Sessions CAO, Ashley Mayfield Haynes, and our General Sessions Finance Director, Etna Smith. So we are going to go through very quickly kind of the lay of the land of the General Sessions Court Clerk's office and then into our budget request for the year. I know you all are not new to this, so just a friendly reminder that you will be hearing from the judges about their specific request. This is for the court clerk's office. There will be several presentations for the whole general sessions altogether. All right. Next slide, please. This is our current position layout, just so you all can see. We have been filling vacancies pretty rigorously for the last few months, especially starting in January. We brought in 8 people, and we've been bringing in 2 to 3 new employees every 2 weeks based on the HR calendar. So right now we have 147 total employees, including civil service and appointed. In addition, we have 15 temps, and right now all of our temp positions are filled. take you next to our current expense budget. As you can see, $10 million total. Part of that is almost $1 million in data processing O&M, and then our general fund and our general fund salaries and benefits make up the bulk of our expenses. About 84% of our budget is paying salaries and benefits. Next slide, please. So quick overlay on our total revenues, what we are bringing in. You can see large part of our revenue comes in from our clerk and our data processing fees, as well as our interest funds, what we receive from the general fund. In the prior year, our revenue was $7.28 million. Our projection for this year is less than that. There's a note in the notes, but we forgot you can't see the notes. But the reason for the reduction in our upcoming fiscal year is due to, in the last few years, during the audit, general sessions, noted that there was a coding error. And that coding error resulted in, as you can see, a dip between FY24 and FY25. So the actual expenditures that came in FY24 were noted in the FY24 audit as overstated. So we're actually on par with previous years for our estimates for our incoming revenue for this year and FY26. Oh, it's there in blue. My apologies. Thank you, Edna. So our FY26 request is going to be focused on, first, new positions and promotions. These are all civil service. We aren't requesting any appointee positions in our FY26 request. We are continuing to focus on serving the community through improving operational efficiency. In the first 6 months, we've been able to reduce our civil backlog of processing our writs and FEDs from when we came on board about 2.5 months or more. Right now, we are on a 4 to 5 week turnaround time. And we have been able to reduce the processing of our garnishment checks in civil as well. Those were even longer, anywhere from 3 to 3.5 months, and we are currently about 6 to 8 weeks behind on garnishment checks. One of the things we've been able to do to reduce that is we have been using our overtime budget. Our team has been coming in every Saturday in the month of March to help reduce this overtime budget. We're also looking at other options with potentially outsourcing some of that work so that we can further reduce the turnaround time in our backlog issues. With any new administration, we experienced staffing shortages. There was a heavy turnaround in September. We have picked back up on staffing. As you see, we are down to 8 vacancies. But we are a paper-heavy operation. As you know, General Sessions is the largest court in Tennessee. We have our judicial commissioners. We support the criminal courts and the civil courts, as well as partnering with all of the courts across the county. We will be supporting juvenile court beginning April 1st, processing warrants and bonds for them as well. And so even if we are to hire and fill those 8 vacancies, we still are going to need more support. We are also working on technological improvements. If we can go to the next slide. Coming in, there were 2 pending system upgrades. One is currently just coming out of the testing phase and is in implementation in the criminal side. We will be moving forward with our e-filing on the civil side within the next month. I believe we're about to start doing demo and testing. And we are also joining the juvenile court clerk's office and the trustee, and also the criminal court clerk's office, and bringing in a system called Pay It, which will allow us to upgrade our payment system online, as well as advance efficiency and technology. Right now, we cannot accept any type of tap pay. We don't have a chip reader. So we'll be bringing in new hardware through that partnership, which has been established across the county and already knows how Shelby County government works. Now, technology would make you think that we could reduce staff. However, considering the technological literacy of the majority of our customers, we cannot eliminate the person-to-person support that we have right now. The technological advancements that we are anticipating probably take about 2 to 3 years for implementation before we would be able to even consider reducing staff due to technological advancements. I'm going to go ahead and anticipate your question, Commissioner Wright. AI is not going to save us in General Sessions Court. We had a really great visit with the Register of Deeds. We have 3 warehouses, not to mention our in-house storage. We have a warehouse across from Juvenile Court on Adams that is solely General Sessions dockets and records. We share a warehouse with other clerks on Bellevue by Lemoyne-Owen, and then we also have a significant portion of our Shelby County archives out at Mullen Station. So we're talking generations of paper that needs to be digitized. Our first estimate is going to be this archive project of about 19,000 images of the loose dockets. We're also going to be archiving our bound dockets as well as our mental health dockets. We're really excited. We have Mr. John Merrick, who is our representative in the Shelby County Attorney's Office and also is one of the county leads on the archiving project for countywide. And so he has identified what's a priority and we are very well aware of what we can archive right away and what we need to retain in hard copy, keeping with the state law. So we will be making a request to work with the Register of Deeds to move forward with this archiving. Additionally, our other major technological requests is we have a pending partnership with Criminal Court to upgrade our Tyler systems. Those are the systems that we use on the Criminal Court and the General Sessions Criminal Court side for search and analytics capabilities. We will be moving forward with data management initiatives. We receive a lot of requests countywide and across the state for our data. Currently, none of the big 4 cities have systems that speak to the state of Tennessee. We have to actually manually report our data. So some of these system upgrades will make it easier for us to speak to other systems. Next slide, please. So that takes us to our budget request. We're requesting the $71,750. The Criminal Court will be requesting the same. This is our shared partnership for the Tyler upgrade. Another $71,000 for the archiving project with the Register of Deeds. That will come out of our DP budget, which I shared is almost $1 million already in funds that we have on board. And then a breakdown of 22 positions. These 22 positions will go across the civil courts, the criminal courts, and our finance departments. I'm sure you all have heard from several other electeds. One of the things that we are struggling with the most is retaining financial analysts and accountants. And so where we have had the most turnover prior to us coming on board and since coming on board has been in our finance department. Ms. Smith here to my left has been amazing in keeping us going and even building this beautiful deck for us and making sure that we have money. Michael Thompson knows that I will just say we have it and to make sure that we do. But we really do need that support. General Sessions brings in a lot of money across 4 different locations. And for the last 5 years, to be honest, we've been dinged on audits. We need to ensure that our finance department is fully staffed so that we can have the operations and controls in place to make sure we're being good stewards of the public's money. So you will see these 22 positions spread across the civil court, the criminal court, and our finance department. And one of the things I also want to name is that we are working towards building up to ensuring that we can have backup support and cross-training. Right now, a lot of our staff currently is trained in either, in just the thing that they've always done. And so we're doing a lot of rotating and cross-training, but we also want to make sure, as we know we have an aging workforce, we have probably at least 30 people based on the retirement report that I saw this week that could retire at any moment from general sessions. And because of that, we need to be prepared to train people, especially to support our judges in the courtrooms. And so where you'll see the bulk of these positions, the deputy court clerk twos, these are people who will be able to go in day one and work in the courtrooms with our judges and run those court cases. And so we're making requests for those both in civil and in criminal. This is just a breakdown of the additional asks that we're asking for on top of our budget from last year. Again, the majority of it matching what our ratio is currently. About 87% of our request is going to new salaries and funds, plus the $71,000 out of the O&M. That is for the Tyler upgrade, and then the data processing, $70,000, which is the money that we would spend with the Register of Deeds office to do the archiving, beginning a probably decade-long archiving project. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clerk Sawyer. Commissioner Wright, you're in the queue.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, Clerk Sawyer and friends. Thank you for the presentation. On the on this last, we moved on, but on that slide 9, the salaries that you're asking, that's just to cover the new positions that you're requesting, so that's not covering any kind of increase or?
It's not covering any kind of increase. I will just say that I support the commissioners and the mayor. Hopefully, we will see a plan from you all to do so. I agree that it should be countywide, and so we didn't want to make a request that bifurcated that for general sessions only. But I am hopeful that there will be a countywide pay raise, and I'll leave that to y'all.
Okay, great. And then I think I heard a couple of different things. So I heard the pay it system, which I think is the same as the trustee uses, is that right? And
yes,
then,
and it's covered in this fiscal year already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's not part of the request then?
No, I was just letting you know the great work we're doing over in
Okay.
general sessions.
Okay. And then, of course, the Tyler, and that is included.
That is in this budget request.
And then is that, but both of those things are separate from the digitizing, archiving?
Right. So on this slide, the $70,905, that is for the archiving. The $71,750 is our half of the Tyler budget with Clerk Kuhn.
Got it. Okay, great. My only other thing was, I know we've had a hard time getting our schedules aligned, so I look forward to visiting. Did get to visit the criminal court clerk's office, but haven't visited yours yet, and look forward to doing that hopefully soon. And I will say thank you for including this on slide 6 about some of the backlogs and addressing some of the things, because that's something, frankly, I've heard about, but has seemed to taper off, and so that does match what you've said. So can you speak any more to that? Was that mainly just sort of a turnover and training issue, or?
It was a turnover issue, and I'll say also that anytime you have a new administration, there's going to be changes. We lost, senior staff. I'm new to general sessions. The majority of the appointed staff is new to general sessions. I tried some new things out, such as a first in, first out system. We froze same-day processing for a bit in the civil side while we I will just say audited what the process could be. We have now moved back as of the beginning of this year to allowing attorneys to file 5 day of filings. Anything over that gets put in the queue, but that has helped things move along. But one of the things about that is, if we're processing same day, but also putting things in the queue, we'll always have a backlog. The more people that we can get who are able to process this paperwork until we fully implement e-filing and have some more technological advancement, we're going to need just more hands and bodies.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Wright. I think you asked every single question I had in my mind, so that worked out well. You have no additional questions at this point, so thank you so much, Clerk Sawyer, for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right. We'll go next to Judge Lonnie Thompson. Thank you, Judge, for being here today. I think you can go right into your presentation.
Am I on? Okay. Wonderful. Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioner Wright, members of the commission. It's my pleasure to be with you this morning, and we appreciate your consideration of our budget. I am the judge of Division 6 of the General Sessions Civil Court, and I'm happy to present, that's with me today, our Executive Secretary, Ms. Michelle Guy. I believe you have in your possession current copy of our budget and the modifications that are therein, that are in the budget, and we've had some very modest changes. And if you have any questions that I can answer for you, I'll be happy to do that. Ms. Guy and myself will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Wright.
Yeah, so thank you for being here, for presenting this. Yeah, if you could just kind of talk us through what you're presenting here, I think that'd just be helpful for those listening.
Okay. All right, Ms. Guy, I'll let you do the lead for that.
Michelle Guy. On the first item is expendable furnishings and equipment. We're asking for a one-time expenditure of $10,000. That is to replace some of our courtroom chairs that are currently the springs have sprung, and they're worn and kind of need replacing. Also, we needed 2 additional office chairs, and some of our glass on our attorney tables has cracked, and we need replacing those. They are kind of hazardous. As well as our one-time expenditure of $2,000 for 2 additional printers we're requesting. Also, a minor recurring increase of $3,100 to the rising cost of membership dues across the board for all of our general session judges. The court cost and related expenditures for mailing court records, we're just asking for a recurring cost of $50. So we can continue to do that in the event we need to mail items. Hospitality and meeting expenses, a minor increase of $100, well, $96 due to water and coffee expenditures. And printing outside has increased now that we've gone to a third-party vendor. So we're asking for a $500 increase to our recurring budget, as well as support services recurring $50 for possible expenditures in printing signage in-house for nameplates, courtroom, parking, that kind of thing. Occasionally we have something come up. Our largest request, which we did ask for last year, was a request for the replacement, and is a one-time expenditure of $146,164. We asked for it last year. It was not included in the CIP project, so it was declined from our budget and finance last year. However, we felt the need to add it to ours this year because there was some confusion over, it wasn't in the CIP project, it was in the CIP project. So basically, we've gone without our flooring being replaced in our courtrooms. And several of our courtrooms are, it's very sad. Some of them are so stained and haven't been replaced in years. Some have a mildew odor to them. We've tried multiple times to have them cleaned and they just can't replace them. So to have everything redone, and the judges have selected some of the most cost-efficient ways to do it, to be uniform, similar to probate court. Some of them have gone with the laminate, which will save on cleaning costs in the future. So we have multiple judges that are doing 4 out of the 6, are going with some of that rolled, the laminate. Some have gone with the rolled carpeting. So we have kind of tried to be as cost-effective and frugal with the taxpayers' money.
Commissioner Wright.
Okay, I think I'm on. Okay, thank you for walking us through that. So just a couple of follow-up questions for you, Ms. Guy. One is, I guess on the general sessions side, the judges, I guess, are counting on the county to provide those technical needs, because I think on the criminals floors, that's state now. Is that? I want to say that those are provided by the state for the criminal courts, but I guess in general sessions, that would be fully on the county to fund.
That is correct. That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And then, thank you for talking through the flooring request. So this is just sort of depending on the division, they're asking different types of flooring, but all of these have needs, but the different types in different divisions is what
Yes,
we're
sir, that's
saying.
correct.
Okay. And things like a $50, Madam Chair, let's take care of $50. All right, that's all I had. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
And this reflects all of the divisions in general sessions, or just some of them?
Civil court.
General
All the
sessions,
civil.
All the civil
Civil
court.
side.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Wright. Quick question regarding, I see here your exhibit around who's doing what or who would like to do what regarding laminate, roll carpet, all of the things. Is that all coming from one vendor that someone looked at, or how was it, the estimates done?
Yes, ma'am. Last year, we worked with Support Services, Eddie Miller, and Cliff Norval's team. They came out and evaluated the square footage of each area and the needs of each area. They provided us the estimated cost, as well as in the event that there is asbestos, they also included partial additional expenditures in the event we run into asbestos. So yes, ma'am, it includes all of that. And we have been in communication for over a year with Support Services and our needs for that, and they're willing to work with us any way we can.
All right, thank you so much. That is all of the questions that we have for you, so thank you so much, Judge.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you,
your consideration.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll have General Sessions Criminal Court, Judge Massey.
Good morning. I'm going to bring up Judge Wilson and Kevin Reed.
I think those two gentlemen are used to being on the hot seat,
Yes.
so come on.
Thank you very much for seeing us this morning and letting us present to you our budget. Our budget basically has remained the same, with the exception of we are asking for some substantial raises for our judicial commissioners, and some raises, not substantial, but for our staff. We have 4 secretaries serving 22 judges. And if you look from the comparisons at the salaries of other executive assistants that work in courts, we were trying to find an equitable solution to the difference in the pay. So the total request for judicial staff is $18,883. I think the biggest request, though, is for our judicial commissioners. And frankly, I was quite stunned after Commissioner Reed had researched across the state of Tennessee the judicial commissioners' pay in other counties. Also, gratefully, our public defenders and assistant attorney generals have finally gotten the raises they deserved for the hard work they do. And our commissioners work extremely hard, but at their salary rate right now, senior attorneys throughout the county are coming in and practicing in front of them, and they're making, 40 grand more than our commissioners, or something like that. So that's our biggest request. We're hoping that you will support this increase. If you have any questions about the salary comparisons, again, I have Commissioner Reed here who did all the research. Nashville commissioners are making $165,000 a year. We're asking $158,000 for our commissioners, and for our lead commissioner to receive $170,000, and that's Commissioner John Marshall. And I'm open for questions.
Commissioner Wright, technically you're in the queue. Yeah, so, okay.
I further wanted to say that we have not asked for a pay raise for our commissioners in 8 years.
I guess my question will be, since you know that we are doing the compensation study, is it a situation where you could, did you not want to wait to see what that stated, or you're just saying that you wanted to go ahead and advocate clearly ahead of time?
I want to advocate clearly now, especially if you see the comparisons of county attorneys, state attorneys, our attorney generals, our public defenders, and most especially what judicial commissioners are paid in Nashville. Do you have Knoxville's number?
Judicial Commissioner Kevin Reed. Judge Massey is correct. We're currently at the low end of the scale compared to magistrates across the state who do the same thing that we do. I don't have Knoxville's numbers, but we have reached out to our colleagues across the state, particularly in Nashville, which is a similarly situated city, to see what they are making there, and we are well below what they are making.
All right, thank you for that. And then when you get the information from Knox County, can you please forward that to us as well?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I believe Nashville, the commissioners there are also asking for increase in pay, even though they're at 165.
All right, it looks like, Commissioner Wright, you don't have any questions? All right, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank y'all very much, and thank you for the support you've given our courts over the years. We
Thank you so
appreciate
much. I
very
appreciate you. Judge Lee Wilson, and you can actually stay right there. You will be up next.
Good morning again. Lee Wilson, Judge of General Sessions Division 8. As the commissioners are aware, I wear multiple hats right now with our General Sessions Criminal Courts. I'm the supervisor, of course, of the Judicial Commissioners, and we will be having a report for you, I think, in maybe either next week or the following week. And we look forward to presenting that report to you as well. This morning, I'm here as my official capacity, though, as the judge of our drug court. I was here about a year ago, and at that time, we had about 125 participants in our drug court program. And I told you that the goal is 150. I'm happy to say that we're at 135 now. So we are progressing towards the goal for our drug court. I don't have to tell you the importance of our drug court. I think it's been well documented, the importance of the court. Right now, the only increase, though, that we're here today is really not an increase. For the last 10 years, we have a special revenue fund that has funded some of the employees. That special revenue fund was funded by fees and fines of General Sessions Court, the misdemeanor cases, fines, and also the fees that we assess to the participants of the program. Over the last couple of years, that fund has dwindled, partly because the number of participants in the program who are addicted to opiates. And because they are addicted to opiates, it requires a longer term of inpatient treatment and then an extended period of treatment afterwards. So we cannot ask these participants to pay for a lot of the treatment which they are receiving. And so we don't get those funds into the special revenue account required to fund some of our positions. Right now, there are currently, is it eight positions? Right? Seven. There are currently 7 positions funded out of the special revenue fund. We anticipate without this increase that fund will go into the red very shortly. And so we are not asking for new positions, we are not asking for raises, but we are asking for the county to share in the burden of running the program, which we have done for the last 10 years. And I think at this juncture that the people who are in the program need the help of Shelby County to continue to work. Without us having this additional funding, we would be looking at cutting the program in half, and I don't think there's anyone in Shelby County who would agree that that's a good thing to do. So sitting here with me is the administrator of drug court, Miss Angela Parkinson, and so she can kind of maybe go through the numbers with you or answer any of your questions. Thank you.
I would like to point out that these positions, when they were created as the drug court expanded years and years ago, we have the 2003 Drug Treatment Act, that there are fines assessed, which goes into the drug treatment fund for the county if they have a drug treatment recovery court. And a lot of those were misdemeanors and marijuana cases, which of course we don't criminalize marijuana anymore. So that is one reason that those fines have been reduced. Judge Wilson already explained the other reason, that people are in longer-term treatment. We can't assess a fee to someone if they can't work. So we don't assess fees to someone until they're not in any type of structured living or anything like that, where they are stable and on their own and can work full-time. And then our fees are only $75 a month. So this special revenue account has gone down over the years, especially post-pandemic. And these employees are civil service positions. They are not grant funded, or they're not temporary. They're civil service. And like I said, we carried them for a long time, and now the revenue is just not there anymore. And as far as our numbers, they continue to rise, especially since Judge Wilson took over. In the second handout you can see the numbers and how our demographics have changed, actually. So they mirror the population of Shelby County. For instance, in FY24, our population is 32% white, 60% black, 8% other. And if you look on the graph there, you will see that that's consistently going up over the years. And I just want to point that out to everyone. So for a long time, we put this program on the back, so people in the program, it's been unjust and it just can't continue.
Thank you for that presentation, and thank you for, actually, this handout is very explicit in literally saying exactly what you just said, so thank you for that. Commissioner Wright, did you have any questions? Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate your presentation.
Thank you so much.
Next, we'll have Judge Sheila Bruce Renfro, Mental Health Court.
Is my mic on? Yes, it is. Good morning, Commissioners. It's great to see you again. My name is Sheila Bruce Renfro. I'm the Judge of General Sessions Division 9 in Criminal Court. That is your mental health court. I have with me my administrator, Ms. Felicia Walker, and my manager, Ms. Tamaria Bowling, to assist me today. Thank you, Chair, for meeting with us ahead of time. This might be a little redundant to you, but it's great to see you, Commissioner Wright. I know you are the commissioner for the courts, to hear our little presentation. I want to start by saying Judge Wilson and his assistant gave a very delayed message, is what I want to call it, that we needed to get to the commissioners, okay? We've come before you many, many times, usually on the same day, because we do similar work with our courts. We provide very important services for our community that are really needed, and we need the support of the county, especially with mental health court. My court is different. Drug court runs all day, every day, and that's just all Judge Wilson does. With mental health court, I have a full General Sessions regular docket, as well as the mental health court. Now, I want to get in line with what the mayor suggested to the press that he wanted, mental health court every single day of the week. That would be my dream. And to have a hybrid court where we would serve on civil and criminal matters, but that's kind of far in the future. Let's get to why we're here today. It seems like a big ask for $800,000, but let me explain why. I took the bench in 2022. We were under the umbrella of community services at that time. And we had to make a change because the statute requires that the mental health court be under the supervision of the judge, the courts. So we had to get it in line with the other recovery courts, veterans and drug courts. So we moved it to General Sessions. When we moved it to General Sessions, several positions were taken, a lot of funds were taken. All we had was ARPA, and they not new positions, as was suggested the other day. They have been in place a while, but they will discontinue in 2026. Now, again, when I took the bench, we received a grant of $2.7 million to the 3 recovery courts for services. It was a pilot program that was what was told to us. What do you want to do with these funds? We said, we need a treatment facility. Of course, that's not enough to get a treatment facility, but we wanted to put all the services in place that would be required, so we used that 2.7 for services. All right, later on, commissioners traveled with us, the recovery court judges, to Nashville. We looked at other treatment facilities. Funds were put in place for that. I don't know where that project is going, but I've done my job. I've hired people with the state funds that I have and the 2 ARPA funds I have a great team in place. Everyone on my team has a master's in social work. They're very well qualified. What I've done is I've gotten a nurse practitioner to go inside the jail to identify people when they come into the system, to get them out and either into mental health court or drug court or veterans court, whatever is needed for services. Now, those funds are going to run out very quickly, too. We were to have another position for someone to identify those people. I don't know what happened with those funds. That did not work out. But we need these positions. We've passed up our overview and consistency data. We've also passed up our exhibits with the positions that we're asking for. We also need people to cover. We have no one to cover currently when someone's out ill, vacation, whatever. We are maxed out at the number required for the people that we have in place to service our people. But once this program gets in place, we've identified a nurse practitioner, we've identified space inside jail medical. We're trying to alleviate the problem and intake the backup that they're having there to get people out and get them services and get them into these recovery courts that they are eligible. But we need funding. Currently, the county is not funding mental health court at all. No funds whatsoever, no positions whatsoever. And that's the only recovery court that is not getting any funding from the county. So we respectfully ask for this request. It sounds like a lot. It's for 5 positions and fringe benefits, supplies, materials, services, and other expenses, and professional contracts. We don't look to the county for the entire amount, but we're looking at identifying. We have 2,100 people pretty much in our jail systems today, and about a third of those have mental health illnesses. So we need people in place to service those people. What we have in place is going to quickly grow, and we need feet on the ground to help us with this. So we respectfully ask you to consider our request. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judge. Commissioner Wright, did you have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Judge, for the presentation. I think there's a lot, I need to sit down with you as well to make sure I understand
Thank you.
everything that's happening in your court. Love to do that when you have an opportunity. So this sheet said the five new staff, and I think maybe that's mirrored in this proposed resolution. Would
Yes,
those be,
Commissioner.
would those be in addition to the grant-funded staff that you already have, or help me understand that?
It will be an addition for a short period of time. We're going to lose 2 very shortly with the ARPA funds.
Okay.
Right.
So it would somewhat replace them as they phase
Yes.
out?
Yes.
I see. Okay. That's all I had. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Madam Judge.
Thank you for your time, Commissioners.
All right. Our next, in our last presentation from General Sessions, Civil and Criminal Courts is Veterans Court. Judge Christian Johnson.
Good morning. My name is Jerry Easter. I'm the Director of Shelby County Veterans Court. Judge Johnson is now the judge of Veterans Court, and he offers his hello and apologies. He's there administering justice as he was elected to do, and asked me to come over and make this presentation. I'm making a presentation this morning asking for a position of peer recovery specialist to be funded by the county. It's not a new position in the sense that we have had a peer recovery specialist. However, the grant that was funding that position expired. There is no present grant funding available to supplement or to bring that back into the fold. There were 2 positions funded by that grant, both of which expired. We have found some money under a rock somewhere in another grant and have covered one of those. So we're not asking you to cover both of them. We're asking you to cover the one that we've been unable to be able to find a funding source for on the go forward. So we're asking for one position to be funded by the general fund of the county. The amount is $62,193.59, and I'm told that's the fully burdened cost of that position. The position is a peer recovery specialist. It's unique in treatment courts. It is an individual who has undergone himself or herself through the recovery process and can speak on a even footing with those participants that we presently have in the program. The gentleman that has the position, that had the position under the under the grant funding, not only had the benefit of having been through recovery himself, he also happened to be a veteran. Those 2 things coupled together make for an ideal position for someone to sit down and talk with a recovering veteran one-on-one in the face, discovering and discussing the steps that are necessary for long-term recovery from addiction. We in Veterans Court don't come very often before this body asking for funding. And I guess I'm tickled to say, we usually come with the smallest ask in the House. This ain't a lot. And I'd point out, as some of the other presenters have made distinctions about what the county covers and what the county doesn't cover, I'd point out that the county presently covers only the salaries of the persons that work, and not all of those, that work for Veterans Court. You don't pay for any of the treatment. You don't pay for any of the equine therapy, the physical therapy, the IOPs, the inpatient. You don't pay for any of that. Now, some of that goes through the VA, but a lot of it, I have to go out and find private funding or grant funding to support that. So I'm not asking you to carry me. I'm not asking you to carry the program. What I'm asking you to do is give me the frontline soldiers and we'll fight the battle. But I gotta have the support of the county on these types of things. And again, we don't come often, but when we do come, we really need it. I'm not blowing smoke. We need this. I'll submit myself to questions.
Thank you so much, sir. Commissioner Wright, you're in the queue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I do have a question. So, well, maybe a couple questions, Mr. Easter. So you, I believe Veterans Court was Division 7. Has that been transferred?
It has. To Division 15,
So
Judge
it's
Johnson.
15.
Judge Johnson happens to be a veteran. Judge Anderson was not a veteran, but Judge Johnson is a veteran, both of the Army and the Marine Corps. As a Marine veteran, that kind of appeals to me that he was in the Marine Corps. And he has now presided over a couple of sessions and is doing an excellent job.
Great. Just curious about this position. And this is someone who is a county employee under well, would be a county employee or is.
Yeah.
And so there's just one of this person
Yep.
to go around. How does that work? I'm just curious what that service delivery is like, or is every person, does the judge assign them to everyone, or how does that work?
Well, first off, he has developed several programs and is running several programs. He has gone into the community and found someone to teach a financial class to our veterans. A lot of our veterans never had a bank account. A lot of them have no idea how to hook up MLG&W service. So he's gotten that. You should see their faces when their compound interest payments are explained to them. So he's done that. He's gone out in the community, found a local artist to present with art therapy. And so he's done all of those things. And in addition, we make aware to all of our participants that here's our peer recovery specialist. He's walked the walk and can talk the talk. Here's his phone number. Call him. Work with him. And we look to them to reach out back to him. He is very active in going to Judicare. I hope all of you are aware of Judicare, the housing environment that we've been able to pull together with the other two treatment courts. Spends a lot of time in their world, being available to them, and talking with them, and working with them in addition to developing the programs that I've mentioned.
Music therapy.
Oh, and also music therapy. Everybody wants to be a blues man, so they're working on that.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for kind of giving a little more context to that. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Wright. Judge Easter, thank you for the presentation, but I don't see in writing the number again, so can you tell me the number?
$62,193.59. Now, as a matter of disclaimer, I didn't figure that out. That came from budget that
Gotcha.
can do that. So if it ain't right, don't blame me.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. May we be excused?
Yes, sir. All right, that's all that I have on my list for general session civil. Oh, okay.
General sessions criminal.
Yes, sir. You actually weren't on my list, but take a seat. Yes. Welcome, Judge Dandridge.
Thank you.
Do you have a presentation for us?
I did not, and that might have been the problem.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I did not, but normally it's listed in environmental court, but it wasn't this time. But I am here, I am asking, request, it's dealing with salaries as well. I want to just tell a little bit about environmental court, as everyone knows. Environmental court, two courts, one's predominantly traffic, the other is mostly environmental court. Last year and consistently over the years, we're bringing in a lot of revenue. Right now, we had 2.7 million, and it's just growing. The number of cases coming into the court is growing. But what I've found is that a lot of the cases that we have are indigent and elderly people who are not able to make the repairs and come into compliance like we need. So I started what's called the Shelby County Environmental Court Foundation. It's new off the ground. I'm piggybacking off of drug court, health court, trying to make it something similar, because putting them in jail and assessing amount of fines is not going to solve the problem. So I created the foundation. Now, we haven't gotten any funds. We are 501c3 right now. And we use ARPA funds from the city just to do a test run to see what it was like before the foundation was fully created. And it was very successful. We were able to successfully assist 32 individuals, and they got the funding and the resources that they need, and they got out of court. And these are some of them simple repairs, elderly people that need it. So I asked that because I need an assistant. And I'm going with a part-time assistant to begin with, to assist that part of the foundation that's going to assist the court in those cases that sit around and linger in my court without resolution, and it lingers in the community. And I think we all know now that blighted properties lead to crime and so forth. And a lot of these people just need simple assistance. The recourses that environmental court has is contempt of court, 10 days in jail, or excessive amount of fines, neither of which would solve the problem. You understand? So therefore, I think the foundation is needed. My ask is $60,839.34. And that's going to cover a part-time position to begin with. Rather than going full-time, I would come back when it's necessary for full-time. There's a part-time position to help get that part off the ground. That person will also assist in the traffic court part, which is bringing in most of the revenue. And we have an online dispute resolution that's working with the criminal court clerk's office, and now we are able to bring in more cases online. People don't want to come to court. They'd rather just pay the fines and stuff online. And so that is helping boost up the revenue. We had the biggest amount of money recovered in January just this year, just to show that it's effective. The other ask is I have a manager B position right now. I don't have an executive secretary in my position, as most judges do, because during the COVID crisis that was taken away. It was okay. I had a manager B position, elevated that person, but she's been essentially working out of class in addition to her other additional responsibilities. But the ask for her is only $6,000, or it totally been $9,000 with the benefits. So those are my two asks, and it's a total of $60,839.34.
Commissioner Wright? Okay. My only ask is that, because we are trying to make sure we have keep everything on record, can you please submit that back to me in writing so that we can have it as your presentation for the subcommittee?
Absolutely, and I apologize for that.
No worries.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Parliamentarian, we're on to item number 3. Can you please read item number 3?
Item 3, presentation, Attorney General, District Attorney Steve Mulroy presenting.
Thank you so much. Mr. DA, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here. I have with me my CAO, Jessica Indingaro, from the DA's office. Before I start talking about what we're asking for in terms of changes to the budget, I'll just mention a couple of highlights from the work of the DA's office. I brought with me today a copy of our annual report, which I can leave behind, and which is also available on our website. I believe that it talks about a number of different things in the nature of progress that have occurred in 2024 over 2023. One of them I think you're aware of, which is the decline in crime. For 5 consecutive quarters now, starting in the last quarter of 2023, we have seen significant declines in crime across all categories: overall, violent, property. Significant double-digit percentage decreases in a lot of those categories. We're knocking wood and hoping that will continue, of course. The annual report mentions a couple of other initiatives that occurred in 2024 that I want to highlight. One of them is our V11 Fast Track Violent Crime Initiative. Some of you are familiar with that. We identified 11 categories of offenses that we wanted to particularly prioritize that were either violent inherently or associated with violence. We prioritize those in three ways. One is we move the cases through the system quicker. The second is we're tougher on bail. And the third is we're more robust in our investigations, including using jail calls, which has really proven useful in increasing our ability to close cases. We also, in a juvenile court, have set up our CARS unit, which focuses on car break-ins and car thefts. We, in that program, identify individuals under 18 who we think are at risk of escalating from car break-ins to car thefts to carjacking and things like that. And we put them in this special program, which features, among other things, youth villages, which I know you all are familiar with. We're also, as a general matter, moving all of our cases through the system quicker through our Speedier Justice Initiative. There's a number of different things that we're doing there. I won't go into it in detail right now because I want to get to the budget items. But I will say that the number of trials in 2024 increased by about 60% over 2023. So we think the things we're doing are working. Happy to answer any questions about that, but what we could do is get to our budget ask, and I want to make sure that my remote control works. What I'm going to do is, okay. What I'm going to do is give a quick overview of the things we're asking for and then go over them in a little bit more detail. The first two are basic infrastructure needs that I think are absolute musts. The first is for us to migrate to Microsoft 365. Our operating system is 12 to 15 years old. I think we may be the only county entity in the entire county government that hasn't yet gotten Microsoft 365. We've spoken to the county IT folks. They definitely think we need to have this. What we've worked out is a deal where the state will pay for the one-time transition costs and all of the state employee licenses. We need the county to chip in for the county licenses, and that amount is there in our PowerPoint. Off-site storage has been a problem for a while. We have increased needs for off-site storage. There's the amount. However, it's a transitional amount. We think over time the state will pick up this cost, but as on a transitional basis, we need $37,500. That's the increase to the existing amount that we use for off-site storage. The next two are really on the theme of completing the elimination of the disparity between county employees and state employees. I know you all are familiar with that big fight that we had a year or so ago. Thank you once again for being willing to step up and eliminate that unfair disparity between the county employees and the state-funded employees. There are just two more pieces to that puzzle that need to be finished. One is the state pays for the state privilege tax for state lawyers. It's very common for that to be paid, throughout government and the private sector. We don't have the money to do that for our county prosecutors, so we're asking for that as well. And then the second is we don't have a travel budget for our county employees. The state pays for training. I say travel, training budget for state employees. In the past, we had taken something called the Economic Crime Fund and just used that to try to pay for continuing legal education training for our county employees, which is required in order for our county prosecutors to keep their licenses and other types of training. We need, that fund has been depleted, and so we need some money for training for county employees. And then we currently have, I think, 6 paralegals trying to cover 14 divisions. Ideally, we would like 1 paralegal for each vertical trial team. We're not asking for that because we're trying to be frugal, but we would like some more paralegals to round out our complement of paralegals. Almost done. Our drug versus the county. We just need budgetary permission to add this item. And then finally, one of the things we've found extremely helpful, both in making presentations to juries and getting convictions, but also making presentations to defense counsel and getting quick plea agreements, is our ability to take the thousands and thousands of hours of video that we have in all these cases, body cam footage, pole cam footage, dash cam footage, and compiling them in a way that we can present in an understandable way to the jury to make the... That is it in a nutshell. We have individual slides on each of these things that can go into detail.
Familiar to me, and I want to say either I've heard about them because you wanted to just give me advance warning, but I thought at least the Microsoft piece we had addressed, but you're saying no, we hadn't.
Not yet.
Okay.
You and I have talked about it. We've talked about it for a while. In fact, we discussed this last year, and we thought the administration, they said, absolutely, you need Microsoft 365. We thought it would be in the mayor's budget. For whatever reason, it wasn't. So now we're talking again. I believe it'll be in the mayor's budget this time, but for some reason, it didn't get done last year. So that's why it sounds familiar to you.
Yeah, I know you were prioritizing certain things in previous budget cycles, and so you did give me advance warning that there would be other things that are on the list, but you were basically prioritizing the ask, so that makes sense. But I just wanted to clarify, and I think,
Yes, sir.
I think the travel and training might have been another one that you
Correct.
were asking for previously. On the paralegal one, though, I think, did we add one or two paralegals? I want to say that was for juvenile court, or refresh my memory on those things.
Good morning. This is Jessica Indengaro, Chief Administrative Officer. Commissioner Wright, you did yeoman's work for us at the end of FY23, and you had a budget amendment resolution that would add 8 paralegals that originally was going to be funded from excess funds or something classified as excess funds from the Shelby County Clerk's Office. That ended up being converted to regular general fund funds in the end, so that Madam Clerk was restored that funding that was initially considered. Of those, and actually I'm realizing of those 8 that you approved for us, we were only able to implement 6 of those. And so that extra money was returned to the county. And we basically just ran out of time. We were doing disparity. And I'll tell you, I think back to that time period, and I think that I should not have fairly asked or could not have fairly asked Shelby County Finance to work harder for us than they did during that period. So we were lucky that we got those 6 added, but we did miss an opportunity there. And so these are new positions, but you previously have considered the need for paralegals in our office, and we're working towards that. They are doing excellent work on discovery and for attorneys that have had to only do discovery themselves. And so it has been a real relief for the office so that the prosecutors can concentrate more on the core prosecutorial functions.
Thank you so much for that background. Yeah, I didn't really, I was thinking a lower number, so that helps. But is it my understanding then that because you didn't get them filled and then there were other budget measures in place that kind of swept those positions from you?
So the positions themselves, so it's a whole process to get a position created. So when I submitted the request, I only asked for 6 at the time because it was an emergency. And we thought we had time as the fiscal year continued, and we basically ran out of time. So I had another stack of things to do, and when I asked my colleagues in the finance office about, okay, how are we going to get these last things done, they basically said, oh, that deadline has passed. And that was in April. And so tough lesson learned. But we still have the need.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I want to go to the drug task force. I know that was another thing that we wrestled through. Did we reach resolution between your department or your, I don't know how to refer to it, but your department, your division and county or finance or legal or whatever there was some friction there?
Again, Jessica Inangaro, CAO in the DA's office. Practically speaking, things are moving along as everyone would expect. So part of the problem was that previous reimbursements from Drug Task Force had not occurred, and that began at the end of FY22. So I'm not sure if that was just the previous administration not getting to it in time before we came in, but then we did not know that money was owed. And so we settled up entirely with the county during that process. And so that was for FY22 and for FY23. They expedited, both HR and finance expedited getting those positions added to our position control budget once we got that resolution approved last spring. And the formalization of the relationship has not yet happened. That's where the opportunity remains, and that involves something beyond a mom and pop operation, which was a handshake deal for people that aren't here anymore in any event. And so, as a lawyer, as a former member of the county attorney's office, let's go ahead and iron it out, and we are still working on that.
Great, thank you for that. And then finally, did want to ask about the technical litigation analysts. That sounds really like a good idea to me. I'm just curious if either of you could speak to what the qualifications are, or what kind of professional background you're looking to fill those positions.
So, Jessica Indengaro, CAO of the DA's office. So there's a wide range of people that could be qualified for this work. And the kids are really good at this stuff. I have aged out of understanding how a lot of my computer works. So one of our existing technical litigation analysts came from the world of IT. And so she understood the softwares that we use for the real-time editing of these tens of thousands of hours of body cam footage. And it was a talent that she developed on the job while she was working in IT. There was a need in the office for somebody to edit the video, and she happened to be there. And eventually the office created a position for this. The other person that is doing this work is she has a paralegal certificate from an accredited university and has been a paralegal for the Drug Task Force for years and years. And so she also had acquired that experience over time. And so as we consider who to bring in, assuming we don't have it in-house, assigned to other tasks, I think that those people are more technologically advanced people than myself, who have video editing experience, which a lot of folks who are involved in social media have. Paralegals and IT people might also be suited for it, but we generally require, for that level of position, whether it's for IT or paralegal, a certificate or equivalent work experience, and education that supports that, all of those things. So I would have to pull the actual job description to give you real specifics, but it's all kinds of people that know how to do this.
And I'm just curious, I'm sure that there are other people who do other kinds of demonstration, printing, graphics, or, posters. I mean, is that a team that exists within your office that handles those sort of visuals? And
So for our attorneys who are in trial, and I'm Jessica Indengaro, the CAO of the DA's office, and interrupt me by all means.
No, please.
So for our prosecutors, they do their own PowerPoints. So some of them are very talented at it, but this thing where the DA can make the words transition and like bring things in, the animation stuff, that is far beyond my skill set. A number of our lawyers have that skill set. For our public-facing things like social media, we do have a communications team. That's 2 people, but they're not involved in the prosecutorial work. They don't do graphics for our courtroom. They do other kinds of things. And both of the things, so the annual report is an example of their work. And so they do sophisticated graphics. This is as sophisticated as I can be, and I commissioned this template from someone on Fiverr.com. So, varied levels.
Thank you, Commissioner Wright. Along those same lines, for the video technical person, what would the salary be for the person? You know, we have it grouped at 194, but looking at the salary, what's the actual salary for that person?
I'm sorry to say that I'll have to get back to you with specifics on the salary only. The way that the enterprise system works with Oracle is that you give all of the identifying information for the position, and it calculates it for you. So all I see is the total number in Oracle. So I'm going to look up the pay grade so that you can understand what the range is. But my understanding from Shelby County Finance is when they set these, they put it at the midline or the midpoint from the pay grade range, because there's a general policy that you should not hire someone at an amount higher than that for new hires. And so that 334, or I'm sorry, that 194.4, and that's not an exact number. We've tried to do rounding for purposes of this. But in the system, that's a much more exact number that those deadlines have already passed for us to submit those to the mayor's office. And so that's divided by 2, and that's the salary plus fringe amount.
That's what I was thinking. So even for the 4 paralegals, if you could just give us exactly what the pay
Happy to.
pay is. Okay, thank you. All right. No additional questions on our end. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner.
All right, we are now ready for item number 4. Madam Parliamentarian, can you read item number 4?
Item 4, presentation, Election Commission, with Administrator Linda Phillips presenting.
All right, thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Linda Phillips, Administrator of Elections, and I've brought Chairman Luttrell with me. Secretary Kimbrough wanted to attend, but she's out of the country now. I have a presentation. Next slide. Okay, in 2026, we have one election, but I think it's probably a very important one to the County Commission. It'll be Tuesday, May the 5th, and one of the handouts that she'll give you are the exact dates of when everything is due. I won't take your time to read all of that, but we'll start prepping for that election in October by running candidate classes and having campaign finance workshops. Now, I must say, this assumes that both local parties will call for a primary election. They have that right, but they don't do that until August. So we are planning as though they will, because they've done that for the last 45 years. So we're assuming they'll continue. There will be a lot of open seats. Next slide, please. There'll be a lot of open seats on the ballot, as many of the incumbents are term limited. So we are, based upon the calls that we're getting from people, we expect that there will be a large number of candidates on the Democratic primary ballot. We're planning right now like we will have 100 on that ballot and 20 on the Republican ballot. Next slide, please. So we do have some needs. Our biggest problem is salary compression, but we desperately need an additional supervisor, and we'd also like an increase in poll worker stipend. And I'll take those one by one. Next slide. Salary compression is a really, really big problem for us. If you'll notice, these are my administrative tech positions. And my most recent hire, I couldn't get anyone for less than $19, which is more than people with 6 to 7 years of experience are making. I'm sure that every department head is coming to tell you about this, and I'm no different. But 6 years ago, next slide, please. 6 years ago, I hired 3 new people that are still with me. And at that time, they were making $1.98 more than the temp rate. They had 0 experience, the temps had 0 experience, kind of a level playing field. Now they have 6 years of experience, and they are making 60 cents more than the temporary workers. That's an untenable situation, and it just cannot continue. I know you're having a study, but I just wanted to bring home how big a problem this is for us. If, in a perfect world, if you can't do anything else, maybe you could just solve my problem. I'd like $27,000 for 9 people to give them raises of essentially $1.53 an hour. I'd like more if you have it, but this would solve a lot of my problems. Next slide, please. I'd like a new position in a voter services manager. It's very difficult if you're not living through it to explain how busy we get before an election. The presidential election, of course, is the biggest, but I think the midterms are going to be nearly as busy. Currently, I have one person that manages the 5 full-time voter services employees. But during almost any election season, that swells to 19 people. One person cannot manage 19 people. And so the result of that is that the temps make mistakes, which we later have to spend money to correct. And what falls to the bottom of the list is voter service. You know, if a voter calls in with a question that can't be answered by a temp, it may be 48 to 36 hours before anybody with more knowledge can get back to them. And that's just, I don't think that's acceptable. But it's just the reality under which we're living. So I would like to have a position level 51 manager or a supervisor, I believe they're still supervisors at that point, for $65,000 plus fringes. Now you may ask, what would this person do when they don't have elections? Well, I think they would do a lot of create training materials, help work through some of our special projects. But during election season, they would allow some of us to have a break. I worked 77 days straight, 12 hours a day, as did my voter and candidate services manager. That's kind of difficult. I took most of December off because I didn't really have a choice, but it's a very challenging job. And I do think that it would dramatically reduce a lot of the temporary labor that we have, because a lot of our temps spend time correcting mistakes from other temps. So it wouldn't cover the fringes, but I do think we could probably reduce part-time labor by at least the salaried amount. Okay. Next slide, please. And my third request is that I would like to increase poll worker pay. Poll workers are the backbone of our elections, and they haven't been increased since 2021. Currently, they're making right around $15 an hour. We'd really like to take that to $20 an hour because they work alongside temps who are our early voting workers who are making 18. And that's just not, it's really not fair. And believe you me, they know it. So the financial impact of that depends on the number of poll workers we hire per election. So for the upcoming election, it would be something in the neighborhood of $40,000. But in a presidential election, when we hire more poll workers, it would be more like $100,000. But every election, we hire different numbers of poll workers depending on the needs of that election. So, last slide. Thank you, and I'd be glad to answer questions.
Thank you so much, Ms. Phillips. Commissioner Wright?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good to see you, Ms. Phillips, and Mr. Chairman Luttrell. Mayor Luttrell. Good to see you. I had an email message that came in. I was alerted that a constituent wanted me to ask some questions. I'm not seeing in your presentation anything that relates to the question, but this constituent is stating that that your proposed budget would include something called enhanced voting and there's some letters, but
Oh.
can you speak to that at all?
That is the election night reporting system that we beta tested during the last election and then the Collierville runoff. Previously, our election night reporting system was something that IT had created for it. It was causing a lot of work for IT because the person that designed it and created it had since gone on for higher paying jobs. And so it was taking a lot of labor from them and from us. Our voting machine vendor recommended the enhanced voting election night reporting system, which we did use and got to rave reviews. Everybody who saw it thought it was vastly superior. I was able to fund that within my existing O&M budget, which is why I'm not asking for it. I think it's a tremendous improvement over what we have been using. And if you've ever gone to our website, shelbyvote.com, or electionshelbytn.gov, take a look at it, because it's vastly better. You'd go to the Elections tab and then look at that.
Yeah, I will say, I did notice a very enhanced, but that, what you're talking about there is just a new method of displaying the unofficial results,
Right.
so to speak.
Yeah, there's no, I believe I know the constituent that sent you that email, because she sent me one very similar. It's the same data. We're not giving them any data. We're uploading our unofficial results into their cloud-based system. But that's no different than what we were doing with the county system. So it's just a much better system.
And this is not, again, not necessarily related to the budget requests that you're making, but I am curious on that. My question has always been on that display on election night. I've never quite understood. It seems like the, what do you call it? The poll, like it's hard to tell how many polling locations have
Right.
reported.
That was a very, very big problem with our previous system. But this new system, you can drill down and get only, for example, if you look at it at the top, you can click on a particular button and it will tell you exactly how many precincts, election day precincts, have reported. The problem with the old system is the first time you upload the first card from an early voting site, it thinks every precinct is reported because every card has every precinct at early voting. So this system has solved that problem, and for that reason alone, I would like to continue to use it.
There are additional questions. I'm just trying to absorb her, the citizens' questions. Also asking about increase. Are there additional software or other additional IT increases, IT related, either software or hardware? Again, I don't see it in your request, but
Funded through my existing O&M budget.
but are we acquiring new machinery? Because I know we did, that was a big.
No.
Okay.
No, we're not, no, we're not buying any new voting equipment. We're getting some security cards, but that's, again, funded through my O&M.
Okay. I think that covers what this citizen's questions were. Apologies to the citizen if I didn't get that right, but thank you for walking me through that. So your overall, do you have what the total request is?
Well, it depends on, it's hard to say for this budget year. It's basically the new position is 65,000 plus fringes, and then 40,000 in increase in poll worker pay, plus whatever you all decide to do about compression. But that is an enormous problem, and it's going to get worse. We got an awful lot of people ready for retirement.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Wright. You asked my questions, so that takes care of all of the questions. Thank you, Mayor Luttrell, for being here today, and thank you, Ms. Phillips.
Thank you.
Thank you. That actually is our last presentation of the day. So I see Director Thompson over there on the side. Do want to give him an opportunity to say a few words before we adjourn.
Good morning. Michael Thompson, Deputy Director of Administration and Finance. What I would like to share with everyone today concerns legislation currently with the Tennessee Senate and the Tennessee House, specifically House Bill 306. If I can have this passed around, I think there were some copies made. I want to bring to everyone's attention the fiscal impact to Shelby County. I have a few documents here with me to just share background and a historical perspective of how Shelby County government has operated for many years. If you look at the summary of the bill, I want to bring your attention to the last line. It says prohibits a CLB, that is county legislative body, from implementing any personnel or operating restrictions on such offices. And I'm reading the bill as it is stated here, but I will also explain a better understanding of what they're calling a personnel restriction. So I'm going to hold this up. This is a budget book from 2009. Fiscal year 2009, this is when A.C. Warden Jr. was mayor. A.C. Warden Jr. And I've turned to a page of one of the offices that is listed in this summary of the bill, and that is the sheriff's office. So I've turned to the sheriff's office page. And on this page, I see all of their budget, and I see a salary restriction in FY09 adopted budget of $9.728200. That's $9,728,200. And beside it, I see a percentage change. I see 42%. Okay. So this restriction that's listed in this bill dates back to FY 2009. This is not new. And it was $9 million in FY 2009. That was before inflation. That was before salary increases. That was before anything that has transpired in the county from 2009. If this bill were to pass, and it did pass the Senate on yesterday, and it will be before the House today at 1:30. If anyone wants to tune in, at 1:30, you can tune in online and hear this bill go to the House. If this bill passes, the salary restriction that was adopted in FY25 for the general fund was $82 million. And it's in our FY25 budget book, and I can point you to it. If this bill passes, the county legislative body will not be able to have that line item in future budgets as it stands. Simple math, if we take our current penny value of approximately $2.3 million, and we do the math with 82 million, how many pennies would it take to make up 82 million at 2.3 million a penny? That's 36 pennies. That's a 36 penny increase, potential increase to the tax rate in order to make up for legislation that will significantly impact Shelby County citizens. That's all.
So, Mr. Thompson, so my question is, you say it's already passed in one side of Senate. I guess Senate was yesterday, it's going to House today. So has anyone been in contact with our lobbyist for, I know the county, the mayor has a lobbyist that he works with, and has anyone been in contact with that lobbyist or even the county commission's lobbyist? I think what I'm saying, I'm glad you're bringing this to our attention today. However, there's other work that has to be done.
Michael Thompson, Deputy Director of Administration and Finance, and the answer to that is yes. Our attorneys have been in contact with the lobbyist, and everyone has been working this for the past couple of weeks.
Okay.
However, it is still gaining traction, right? So until we, continue to help inform everyone of the true fiscal impact that may not be communicated effectively in Nashville right now, I felt it necessary to bring this to your attention as we have heard from our elected officials today, our other officers, as they request items for FY26. So we have competing interest. I would like to add one thing as well to help everyone understand what this accounting method is. Positions or payroll, if you will. Vacancy savings, or let me say this, savings accrue every time a payroll is cut and there is not a person in that position. You save money. So like if we get paid at the end of this month and we have vacant positions, there's going to be a savings amount that accrues that was budgeted but not spent, okay? The amount, the restriction that has been discussed here is actually a way to account for that savings that accrues because you would never spend all of your payroll. So it's really a misnomer, if you will. It's not really a restriction. It's a way to account for the savings or the money that you don't spend for vacant positions, some that may have never been filled. So I think the understanding should be made clear as to the understanding of this accounting method and the fiscal impact of removing this accounting method.
Commissioner Wright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Director Thompson, no, you're not director anymore. What are you?
Deputy Director.
Deputy Director.
Of a division. No, I was kidding.
Okay. Assistant to the Assistant Manager. You said this is HB 306, is that right? Yes. 306. And the impact is 82 million, and that equates to a 36-cent property tax rate. And so I guess from what I understand of what you're saying is the Shelby County property tax rate could increase 36 cents and there would be no additional services provided. Would that be accurate to say?
Michael Thompson, the Deputy Director of Administration and Finance. I will answer that with this. If a gap of 82 million appears in the budget as a result of this legislation, that gap has to be filled. What are the ways to fill that gap? You can increase your property taxes, which is the main source of revenue for all governments, and that will take a 36-cent tax increase. You can cut services. I don't think we can cut 82 million out of our budget to fill that gap. We have a $480 million general fund budget. That's, forgive me, I don't have a calculator in front of me. Very sizable, very sizable. So if you were to ask that question, and you did, yes, but I want to make sure that you know that there are ways to fill the gap, and that's one of them, a 36-cent tax increase, which, and by me saying I don't think we can cut our way out of this, I'm pretty much saying yes to your question.
I guess I asked because, if you're saying that, well, I know there's some back and forth, particularly with the sheriff's office, about whether the salary restrictions prevent them from filling positions that they would otherwise fill. As it comes to this board, there's a difference of opinion between the administration and sheriff's office. But I guess what I'm hearing from you, aside from that debate, if that were, I guess if the administration's position is true, that those positions won't be filled anyway, then what we are talking about is an increase of the budget of 82 million without any new hires, without any new services. Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Wright. That ends actually today's budget subcommittee. Thank you so much. The meeting adjourned.